This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25, and it reads, "And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations for perplexity, the sea and the waves upon it." Second Esdras, which is in the Apocrypha, Second Esdras 9 and 3, and it reads in the Holy Scriptures. I meant to say Salakia, Second Ezra 15, verse 16, and it reads, "For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power."
Biz burada
We are strongly condemning that act here. It is impossible for any Muslim to accept this.
hiçbir Müslümanın kabul edilebileceği bir durum değildir.
This is an attack against all Muslims.
Müslümanlara yapılmış bir saldırıdır.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders who preaching his word truthfully and sincerely, and shalom to the Akim scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is a sit-down lesson about to bring out, as you seen the clip right there, a video clip I meant to say, which is 8 minutes and 2 seconds from Reuters.com as of January 22nd, 2023. And it reads, protests in Stockholm, including the you-know-what burning draw condemnation from Turkey, right, and other countries as well too. You know, countries like Turkey and Arab countries as well too. You know, they condemn of the person that recently did the burning of their book of what their belief system of what they're believing, you know. And, you know, they condemn that, you know. And it says, I'm going to read it again, protests in Stockholm, including the you-know-what burning draw condemnation from Turkey. Slovakia. And it says protests in Stockholm on Saturday against Turkey and Swedish bid to join NATO, including the burning of a copy of the Koran, I meant to say, sharply heightens tensions with Turkey at a time with the Nordic country needs America's backing to gain entry to the military alliance. We condemn in the strongest possibility the terms of the vile attack in our book, permitting this anti-you-know-what act which targets the MUSLIMS and assaults our scarce. Because this been happening quite a while now. Because I remember a few years back, I believe over there in Norway, it was this person. He was a far right activist or something like that, which is the same guy which he did it a couple of days ago. And I forgot what country the latest one had happened of the burning of their book. And yeah, so I had to add a note to that as well too. And it says, we condemn the strongest possibility terms of the vile attack on our book, permitting this anti-you-know-what act which targets the MUSLIMS and assaults our scarce values under the GUISE of freedom of expression is completely unacceptable. As the guy, he was saying in that video clip, he said the same thing. It says expression is completely unacceptable, and Turkish foreign minister says, it says in a statement was issued after a anti-immigration politician from the far right, friends burning a copy of the Koran near the Turkish embassy. The Turkish minister urged Sweden to take necessary actions against the perpetrators and invite all countries to take concentrated steps against Islamophobia. And it says a separate protest took place in the city supporting the Kurds and against the Swedish bid to join NATO. A group of pro-Kurdish demonstrators also held a rally outside the embassy. All three events had police permitted. And it says Swedish Foreign Minister Tobias Billström said the Islamophobic provocations were appalling. Sweden has a far-right reaching freedom of expression, but it does not imply that the Swedish government or myself support the opinion expressed. Billström said on Twitter. The Koran burning was carried out by a Rasmus Paludan, leader of the Danish far right. Oh, that's who that. Okay. Danish, which is Denmark. It says leader of the Danish far right political party, Hardline, Paludan, who also has Swedish citizens, has held a number of demonstrations in the past.
Warm up first and go out there.
Right.
They talking about 2 or 4 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow.
Yeah, it is. Oh, he just left.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thursday, Wednesday gonna be cold as hell.
Yeah.
I know they're gonna get back cold.
Yep.
I know it. I know it's coming anyway.
Sure would.
Yeah, we had to do this. Like last time it was cold,
Yep, sure did.
I told a lot of bags.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard work.
Yeah. Slovakia was talking to my OG. But continuing on with the reading of the sit-down lesson, it says the Koran burning was carried out by a Rasmus Paludan, leader of Danish far-right political party Hardline. Paludan, who also has Swedish citizens, has held a number of demonstrations in the past where he has burnt the Koran. It says Paludan could not immediately be reached by email for commenting. In a permit he obtained from the police, he said his protest was held against the ISLAM and what it calls Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan attempt to influence freedom of expression in Sweden. And it says several Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Kuwait, denounced of the Koran burning. Saudi Arabia calls for spreading the values of dialogue, tolerance, and coexisting and reject hatred and you know what? The Saudi foreign minister said in a statement, Sweden, Finland applied last year to joining NATO, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All 30 member states must improve their bid. Turkey has said Sweden, right, because there was an article saying that Finland and Sweden is ready to join NATO, according to U.S. of their opinion on that. And Turkey has said Sweden in particular must first take a clear stance against what it sees mainly Kurdish militants and a group it blames for the 2016 coup attempt. And this is an actual photo that took place on Saturday. Demonstrations outside the Turkey in Stockholm, I believe. Second photo. Fourth video photos, I guess. Right, and these are the alt-right members of the Danish political party, and they was burning the book of the Turkish and the Arabs of the book of religion of what they believe in. I think that took place on Saturday. And it says, at the demonstration to protest Sweden's NATO bid and to show support for Kurds speaking, stood in front of a large red banner reading, "We are PKK," right? Because they look at the PKK as a bad organization from the Turkish side. And it says, "We are all PKK," reference to the Kurdish Workers' Party that is outlawed in Turkey, Sweden, and the United States, among other, in Syria as well too, and parts of Iraq as well too. And it says countries and address several hundred pro-Kurdish and left-wing supporters. It says we will continue our opposition to the Swedish NATO application. Thomas Peterson, spokesperson for the Alliance Against the NATO and one organizers of the demonstration, told Reuters. Police said the situation was calm at all three demonstrations. In Istanbul, people in groups of around 200 protesters set fire to a Swedish flag in front of the Swedish consulate in response to the burning of the Koran. And it says Swedish minister visit canceled early on Saturday, said that due to the lack of measures to restrict protesters, it has canceled a plan to visit Ankara by the Swedish Defense Ministry. Johnson, if I pronounced that right, says separately that he and Ankara had met on Friday during a gathering of Western allies in Germany and had decided to postpone the planning meeting. It says Turkey Defiance Minister Oskar Akar said he have discussed with Erdogan the lack of measure to restrict protests in Sweden against Turks ending COVID and caused reaction to Johnson's on the sidelines of a meeting of the Ukraine Defiance Contact Group. It is unacceptable not to make a move or react to these protests. And that's that second Ezra 9:3. There shall be seen uproars in the people in the world with this increasing protests. And along with the second Ezra 15 verse 16, they should regard their kings nor their princes or the course. They should stand in the course of their action. They should stand the course of their power. They should stand in the course of their power with that, I've roughly paraphrased Salakia. But I want to add a note to that. It says, but continuing on with the reading, it says the necessary things needed to be done, measures should be have taken. And Carr said, according to a statement by Turkish Defiance Ministry, Turkey Foreign Minister have already summoned Sweden's ambassador on Friday over the planned protests. Finland and Sweden signed a three-way agreement with Turkey in 2022, aiming at overcoming Ankara's objections to their memberships of NATO. I believe not too long ago, the president of Turkey was kind of questioning of Sweden and Finland joining NATO. And Sweden said it has fulfilled its part of the memorandum. If I pronounced that right, Salakia once again. But Turkey is demanding more, including the extradition of the 130 people. Also, that's what he was questioning about. That, okay, now we get to understand. And I'm going to read that again. That's what the president, Turkey, was kind of curious and concerned about. It says, but Turkey is demanding more, including the extraditing of 130. It deems to be, you know what. So yeah, I'm gonna bring out that scriptures again that I just brought out with the recent protests. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes in the course of their actions, to stand in their power. Right, with that recent protest happened over there with 200 protesters, and then you had the protesters of the far right, of them burning the book of what they believe in. And then you had the opposing side, I believe, that had burnt the Turkish, not the Turkish flag, the Sweden flag in response to the far right activists of burning their holy book of what they believe in, which is the Turks and the Muslims. So you got that division between on both sides on that as well too. So that's a sedition among men. With the uprisings and protests around the world, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a increasing number of these uprisings and protests around the world, And that's our prime examples of what of them. I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra 9:3. This is 2nd Ezra 9:3. Therefore, there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars in the people in the world, right? With the increasing uproars in the people in the world, what that currently taking place over there in Peru, of violent protests has been increasing for the past couple of weeks. I would say 2 weeks. And then you had the recent one 2 weeks ago over there in Brazil. And then other protests is increasing, so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the uprisings and the uproars in the people in the world with these increasing protests of certain things of the citizens of these countries that they oppose, of their leaders that they disagree with. And then you have both people on opposing sides of if it sometime it might be for a political thing or activist thing. So you're gonna add divisions on both sides, just like with the the activists on the far right, the Danish of the Danish activists of them burning their book. And then you had on the other opposing side, they kind of condemned that of them burning that book. So they burned the Swedish flag in response to the burning of their book. So you're seeing divisions on both sides. So that's uprises and uproars in the people in the world. Even though it might not be like fully physical, but we seeing demonstrations of it in that type of sense. So that shows you division between both sides. That's why you're seeing a number of increases of the uprises and uproars of the people in the world. Just like Luke 21 and 25, the disgressive nations for perplexity, and that's what we're seeing as well too. So these things are definitely going to increase with the increasing protests, the increasing uprises and uproars in the people in the world. So that's what we're going to continue to see. And so with that, hopefully this was edifying of this recent news article of this protest in Stockholm, including the burning of their book, draw condemnation from Turkey and other Muslim countries as well too. So you're gonna see these things increasing with the protests in the world, the uprises, and the sedition among men. We're gonna see that increase more and more and more. So with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying of this news article that I just brought out as of January 2020, January 22nd, I meant to say 2023, from Reuters, of this, once again, like I mentioned before, the recent news article of protests in Stockholm, including a Koran burning of their book, drawing condemnation from Turkey, while you have pro-Turkish activists had a protest. They condemning, and they going against the bids of Sweden and Finland joining NATO. You have pro-Kurdish protesters going against that. So, that's a clear example of the scriptures that I just brought out. 2nd Esdras 9:3, for there shall be uproars and uprises in the people in the world with these protests as well too. And it could be in many different categories. It could be from a political standpoint, from an activist standpoint, or their expression how they feel with the situation. It all depends on the category of the situation. That's why you're seeing the rise of increases of protests and uprises and uproars in the people in the world on many different categories. It all depends on the situation as. And so with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders who preach His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom.